Hi everybody, you are looking at the Yellowstone River in eastern Montana. Let me just zoom in so you can see the river amidst all the fall leaves up here. It is just such a beautiful day here, and when I show you the piece of history that you're going to get to check out in about a minute, I think you're going to be amazed. So here I am, representing the Cardinals, a long ways away from the Valley of the Sun. In fact, when I looked at the temp here at, about 10 o'clock in the morning, it was still in the 40s up here in the middle of October. So a nice, cool way to start the day. Anyway, welcome to my history channel, Ron Hoon History, where I love to show you some of the great historical sites in the USA. So the story goes that, show you right here, on July the 3rd, 1806, Lewis and Clark had decided to separate. They'd already been all the way out west. Thomas Jefferson, the president, had sent them off on this great journey of discovery. And they made it all the way to the Pacific Ocean, and now it was time to come home. So on July the 3rd of that year, Lewis and Clark made the decision to separate. They got over the Bitterroot Mountains, right separating today present-day Idaho and Montana, and they decided that they would take two separate routes going home. So Meriwether Lewis, he took the route to along the Missouri River, and William Clark, he took the route right through this valley here along the Yellowstone River. But the situation was this: a member of their party had been injured when a snag of a tree poking out of the river gashed his thigh, went 2 inches deep, and a really bad cut, to the extent that he tried. They had been riding horses. He tried to ride the next day, and normally they were getting about 30 miles a day, and that day he could only do 18, and he was in a lot of pain. So they made the decision to look for trees that would be big enough to carve canoes out of them, and they were then going to canoe, I'll show you right here, right down this river as far as they could. So, where am I now? This is Pompey's Pillar National Monument. And I'm going to go ahead and show you what they have here. It's a little bit difficult to see, but I hope you can make it out. It's really quite cool. See this cliff? So, William Clark, on that day, I believe it was July the 25th, 1806, there, on this cliff, there had been some previous carvings from Native Americans over the years, and he decided to climb this cliff and sign his name into the sandstone right here. We're a little bit backlit from the sun, but I'm going to zoom in. Yeah, actually, you can see it pretty well there. W. Clark. And there you go, 1806 and the date. This is, believe it or not, give you some perspective here looking back down on the valley. This is the only physical evidence that still exists to this day of the Lewis and Clark expedition right here along the Yellowstone River. Isn't that incredible? So this had been designated as a National Historic Landmark back in the 1960s. But it wasn't until the year 2001 that it was actually made a national monument. Now, the only thing that bums me out, here I am in October, they have a gift shop and a museum and a visitor center out there, out in the fields there. That's closed this time of year. They close it up at the end of September. In the late fall or winter, they do try to keep it open year round, but You're not going to get to see some of the exhibits they have in there, but still, just to see this piece of history as it still exists is so cool. So why is it called Pompey's Pillar? That's a pretty good question, right? Well, remember, they had the Native American guide Sacagawea that was helping them along their journey. And she had a little baby boy with her named Jean-Baptiste. But I don't know if it was Lewis or Clark, but one of them gave that little boy the nickname of Pompey. And so when he climbed this rock, he actually named it for Sacagawea's little 1.5-year-old boy. Yeah, Pompey. And it looks out over this whole valley. Think about that. Think about how many years. Well, over 200 years. And the Meriwether Lewis expedition, well, it just along the Missouri River, which of course was the main route they used to get out here. But Clark got to see all of these new lands, and I'm sure always remembered to his dying day the day he spent out here in this part of beautiful eastern Montana when he carved his name into that rock. Say, if you haven't ever subscribed or liked my history channel, Hooner History, I hope you'll do so. I just love to, kind of an amateur historian, and I love to explore the great historical spots of our country and share them with you. So if you're ever out here driving between, say, the West Coast, Seattle, Spokane, heading east toward Minnesota or the Dakotas or anywhere in that area, and you're on the I-94, stop in here. If it's a family trip, be sure to tell the kids the whole story of the Lewis and Clark expedition. And you can walk right up here and see the signature carved into the rock. Thanks for watching, everybody.